get a lot of questions about how to do art. I don't really know how to teach it, but we're gonna try because it's quarantine and people have nothing to do, so why not pick up a new hobby? I'm gonna give you the basics, let's go. I use acrylic because it's really cheap. You can get like the packages of these for like 10 bucks. These are a little more expensive, but this is just because I paint a lot and I need paint. But yes, this is black though, be careful with this, don't use this to mix. This is gonna be a really random video of art tips, but you can deal with it. Alright, tip 1. I know everybody gives you those plastic palettes to mix on. Do not use them with acrylic. Acrylic dries as a plastic and it's never coming off of that. I use old picture frames because acrylic doesn't bind with glass because plastic and glass don't bind. It's why you can't paint acrylic on glass or metal and it just will peel right off. But I'll show you what happens when you wash this. Wonderful, it's clean, beautiful. I got this from Goodwill for 50 cents. It's treated me well. In terms of painting, the only colors you really need are your primary colors, so blue, yellow, and red, and then black and white. I also use orange just because I'm too lazy to mix it, and yellow is a horrible color to mix with. It's super thin. But here we go. I'm going to teach you some basic color theory so you know how to mix the colors you want. Alright, palette, paintbrushes, cup of water. Yes, it's a dining hall cup. I'm not the one who stole it. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna hope all of you at some point in your life learned how to mix orange, green, purple, etc. If you don't, I don't know how to help you anymore. You're on your own. But what's really important to know is how to dull colors and how to make brown, which I will teach you now. So here's your basic color wheel. And basically, you're gonna wanna use opposite colors to make brown. So blue and orange make brown, yellow and purple make brown, and red and green make brown. My favorite is the blue and orange because I think it's the easiest to mix. Purple and yellow is kind of a pain in the ass to make, I'm not gonna lie, but red and green is good too. But that's why I have orange, because I use it mostly to mix browns and I'm too lazy to actually mix all 3 primary colors to make brown. So if you just take some orange and then take some blue, you're gonna end up with this brown color. Which I know is kind of hard to see because it's dark, so I'll add some white to it for you. But here we go. Now if I was using this to paint something, it is still kind of blue and kind of ugly, so I'd probably add more orange to it. Typically for a blue and orange brown, I'll use more orange than blue to make it. And there you go, that's a nice brown. Here you go. Important thing to note, if you're going to use white and black to mix things, black will, yes, make it darker, but it also desaturates it. Same thing with white, it'll make it lighter, but it is a desaturated form of it, and you can't get that back. So if I'm going to mix a bunch of white into this, it makes it lighter, but it also makes it kind of like desaturated. There's less pigment from the orange and blue in it. And say I was like, oh, I want to make this darker. Adding black to it is not going to make it the original color. It's just going to make it gray and muddy and gross. Make sure to clean your brushes. Also, do not leave your brush just sitting in here like this because it'll ruin it. Fun facts. While we're talking about opposite colors, let's talk about, you know, darkening something. If you want to take a red and make it a darker red, for the love of God, do not try to make it darker with black. Because firstly, all the blacks have an undertone, and you'll notice the black I use has kind of a blue undertone, so you end up with a purpley color, which is probably not what you wanted if you're trying to shade like an apple. What you should do is take your red, nice good red right there, it would focus, and then add a little bit of the opposite color on the color wheel. So for this, it would be green. And you get a nice rich red that still has all the pigment in it and is a darker shade. So the same rules apply for mixing just darker versions of a color. Just add a little bit of green to red instead of a lot of green to red to make a darker red. If you add too much, you'll end up with brown. But yeah, same thing with blue and orange, yellow, purple, you get the vibe. Also, you can add water to acrylic to thin it out, but you will make it super thin and it's not going to be opaque anymore. So it is nice for if you're doing like a wash as a background, but don't expect to actually paint anything with it. Also, things to note, acrylic dries super fast. I mixed this like 2 seconds ago and it's already basically dry. So either mix a lot of the color or paint fast. Okay, that was a lot of painting, but I'm giving English. I'm gonna give you some drawing tips because drawing's also hard. Also, I firmly believe art is not something you're just born with, it's something you get from practice. I took 7 art classes in high school, and I've been drawing since I was like 3. I'm good at art because I practice, not because I was born that way, and I still hate half my work. It's just something you deal with. I don't know. So stop saying you'll never be good at art, because you will be, I promise. Okay, one of my tips for actually learning how to draw is don't just look at a reference and try to draw it. Pro tip, flip the reference upside down. If you're trying to draw an eye, take the photo and literally rotate it upside down, because your brain is going to see the eye and just be like, oh, I know how to draw an eye, and then you're going to draw something that doesn't really look realistic or like what you're trying to draw. If you flip it upside down, it makes a disconnect in your brain about what you're actually doing, so you start to focus on lines more and actually drawing what you see rather than what you think you see. And yeah, if it wasn't already obvious, you should be using references. It's okay to use them, you need to learn somehow. A lot of people think you shouldn't because they think it's copying. It's not. Don't trace, but look at something and try to draw that. When it comes to drawing, please do not shade using lines like this. It's gonna get all of these different levels in it where you have darker lines here and lighter spots here. What you're instead going to want to do is use little circular motions like this, because it creates a just all around base color, and it looks a lot better and a lot more professional, and you'll have an easier time kind of shading later on. Also, important thing to note is that the closer to the tip you hold your pencil, the darker your line will be, and then the further away you hold it, the lighter your line will be. Okay, I don't really know what else to say right now. That's just a bunch of basic stuff. If you want more tips or want to see me paint, I can do that too. But basically, learn art. It's fun and you can be good at it if you practice. So, good luck.